Good morning and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the talk think show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. And tonight we're gonna examine the psychologics of the so-called African American to show you how you were taken from one place to another. This is for everybody who's 10 and above. Because a lot of times we're led to believe one thing about ourselves, and when we follow that line of what other people tell us about ourselves, we'll lead ourselves right into a hole. Stevie Wonder once said, when you believe in things you don't understand, you suffer. And everybody's heard that. See, people like Stevie Wonder, all those great people, they were trying to tell you through their music. A lot of them did some great work, and a lot of you got what they said. But a lot of us, we don't get it, and we've seen where the harmonics that we once used, how they're just being destroyed. No instruments are being used nowhere. So we're not getting those vibrations that those people were thinking when they were making those sounds. I hope you can understand that. If you look at the evolution of music to the peoples of America, the Louis Armstrong, the Duke Ellington, the Ethel Waters, the Billie Holidays, you just come on up to the present. You can see how the music did a 180-degree turn. And that's to have our vibration with the planet off. We have to know these things about ourselves. The intent. When we do something, what we're trying to put across. If you're trying to put across some bullshit, the people's gonna feel it. Or they're not gonna wanna listen because they know they have to do something. And what the African American doing now at this date, this is just one of them. They're fleeing. They're fleeing their homes. What's going on, Brother Pav? They're fleeing their homes. Not a lot are doing it, but I'm going to show you something, how we got to this point. And when you see it, don't get information and stay locked on it. Try to learn more. Try to learn something new every day. Think about it. What would you do? What would your father do? What would your mother do? What would your grandmother do? What would your aunt do? That's how you figure out stuff. You just can't have somebody come tell you something and you stay stuck in that mindset for 50, 60, 70 years until you die. And then if somebody come tell you something, you ready to cuss them out. You ready to tell them they don't understand. They a sellout. You tell a person that being a drug addict is a choice, they cuss you out. They cuss you out. Why? Because they don't want to accept the reality. They don't want to set the reality. We've all heard of drug addicts who just said, I'm tired of this shit, and stopped cold turkey, turned their lives 180 degrees around and did something else. We've all heard those stories. The person that just wants to stay stuck, let them do their thing. But what's going on in America today, and if you look at the news all the time, it always have the so-called black man and woman right in the middle of it. Right smack dab in the middle of it. So a friend of mine sent me this. It was just for a joke because they know I'd laugh at it. And this is on YouTube. It's called "Why Black Americans Are Deciding to Resettle in Africa." Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you what it is. You can go see it if you want. It's a joke. But how did we get to this point? Because you have all these Africans coming over here, and they're trying to clear out the path, and they're doing it with with our disappearance, because we're killing each other out big time. We own it, and we're doing it to ourselves. That's where the majority of the hit is coming from. And we try to act like we don't understand what we're doing. So before we get to this, I want to share something else with you. I want to share something else with you. This is because I wanted to show you the who, what, when, where, why, and how we got here. Why Black Americans are deciding to resettle in Africa. I want to share this cat with you. I'm sorry. I want to share this cat with you because he's one of the ones who are started. And when you hear a lot of Black people talk, African Americans, the so-called woke, the conscious, most of them are blooming idiots. Because like I said, they're caught on a mindset. What does conscious mean? You're still a prisoner in your own home. So you're trying to be something else so you don't have to confront that you're a prisoner in your own home and come up with a way to try to end it. See, that's what all the Afrocentrics, they don't come up with a way to try to end this. They just try to make money and whatever off, oh, we the poor Black folks, we can't do nothing. And that's quite the contrary. We don't want to do nothing. The vast majority don't. They like it. That's why they're here, to learn what they don't like. See how we look at life and death. This is how indigenous people look at life and death. This is why I say, find your people. Every species on this planet, they get their cue from nature. You used to do that, but you don't want to do that no more. You wanted what they had. Every species on this planet gets its cue from nature. The so-called African American, somebody else tells them what to do all the time. Now, that hurts many of them, and they'll come up with all kind of ways to fight it off, but that's what's happening. You getting skull drug in your own home. Like a hoe. These are the men. These are the big buff football players. You seen $40 million a year Negroes strike for one day. I know garbage workers strike longer than that. That's how far you fell off. That's how far the Negro have fallen off. $40 million. And you boycott for one day. You had your people boycott the buses down in Montgomery longer than that. Dang. And that's where you are today, and you making all this bread. I want to share this cat with you. This is a dude named John Henry Clark. Now, most Afrocentrics, what you call Afrocentrics, he's one of the pioneers of it. And unfortunately for us, we just go by what they say. We don't, we don't find out his history, why, see, how did he get to that position? What was his thoughts building up to what made him what he is? Where is he from? Who is he? What did he do? What is his life's accomplishments? What was he trying to say to vibrate us, for us to understand what's happening to us. What did he do? Not a damn thing. Now the Afro said, I'm gonna show you how. And you're gonna go, damn, it's like that, it's like that. And it's been in your face all the time. You just haven't looked at it. Because we just go by the picture. See the picture? He's sharp. Who was this cat? Who was he? All you got to do is read a biography of him and it'll tell you. But they think that we're so dumb. That's what people think. They think that we're so dumb we won't get it. Well, all of us are not dumb. This is John Henry Clarke, and Wesley Snipes did a video on him, a documentary called John Henry Clarke. You can look at it on YouTube for free. A Great and Mighty Walk. This is the cat who I'm not saying he started the Afrocentric movement, but he was a participator. Now check out, now you have to ask yourself, he was born in Alabama, down there near Montgomery, Alabama. How did he get to become the leading scholar over African thought? The first thing you have to ask yourself is who educated him? See, that's something that we never do. We think somebody is great because they put a camera on them, they put some bright lights on them, and he's great. No, boo, that's not what makes them great. We're all great. Don't tell somebody that they're something that you're not, because it puts you in that worship mode, which most Negroes are. Now, this cat was born here in Alabama in 1915. The first thing you notice about him is his name, John Henry Clarke. Now, I don't know if you're old enough, but one of the stories that I got from my grandmother and other people had got from their parents, and they just made a movie about it. I don't think it did good, because I think they had that cat who was calling for, he got molested at a party. He was the star. And so then they cast him in a movie of that magnitude. Very interesting. But when I was coming up, John Henry was this brother who the railroad was coming in, and he could lay the railroad pipe and all that faster than the machines could. It was just an old story to, to build up the men, to make them think that they was good, because their land was being encroached on, and it was a story passed down to make the men think that they were better than the machines. They was telling us that story 200 years ago, but we didn't listen to it. We had to watch Good Times. We really wasn't into it. So John Henry was a name that was given to a lot of young men when they was born. Kind of a self-esteem boost, to make him look at himself as strong and not a little, what we have now. So if you go back to around this time that was born, he was born, if your grandfather, your great-grandfather was born around that time, John Henry, or his name may have been Booker T or something. They was trying to show these children that they come from great stock. John Henry Clarke, he changed his name from John Henry to John Henrik. So, if you're thinking, because I don't care why he changed his name. He can do what he wants. Okay. So why did he change his name to John Henrik? He's for all this black stuff. that John Henrik, that middle name, is a Scandinavian poet. He changed his name to his favorite Scandinavian poet. Huh? Huh? He's all for the blackness, but he changing his name to a Scandinavian. Explain that. See, when I asked the Afrocentrics to explain that, you should see them. That's like Cassius Clay changing his name to David Bowie. For real, cuz that's where we at. So you have a whole group of Afrocentrics that their thought process is guided by this cat. Oh, and they love him. They love him. In the documentary, A Great Mighty Walk, and you got to see this. You got to see this. This is how our minds are twisted, and we'll stay stuck on this. I got to know people who got this man hanging up in their house. Afrocentrics, they wear Afrocentrics clothes, pajamas, whatever. This is their God. In the documentary, A Long and Mighty Walk, I think it was President Nkrumah, Kwame Nkrumah. When this cat was in school, he went to New York, he met Kwame Nkrumah. I mean, I guess they, whatever they were chosen to do. So he said when Kwame Nkrumah went back to Africa and became president, he went over there trying to get a job with Kwame Nkrumah. This is him. This is his words. These are not my words. You can go look at the video on YouTube and hear these words come out of his mouth. But the Afrocentric would fight with me and argue and make sure our children don't get no information, make sure our children aren't connected to anything. Because they want them to hear this information. They want us to follow this cat. He said Kwame Nkrumah was coming back to his palace, the presidential palace, and Kwame Nkrumah seen John Henry Clark. You know what Kwame Nkrumah said to him? And he said he tries to laugh it off, but it ain't funny. You know what Kwame Nkrumah saying? What you doing in my country? He didn't say, welcome home, brother. We got one hour. He didn't say none of that. What you doing in my country? These are John Henry Clark's words. Go watch the video on Great and Mighty Walk. You will hear them say that. Then then we can have a discussion about it. But if you don't know this, and you still trying to act like this dude, I'm not saying for his job, for his masters, I'm sure he did a great job. And he'll tell you, he down there from Alabama. He said he used to walk on the roads barefoot. That's how smooth the dirt was, the clay was. You walk on it barefoot. Can you imagine the vitamins or the minerals that they were picking up to be strong, coming with their feet on the ground like that? He went off to college and took your mind right off of that. That's where you are now. That's where you are now. So when they talk about all these scholars and stuff, trust me, I've seen most of them. They all suck. They all were sent there to make you stupid. And I got the receipts. With one I'm about to show you right now. So what did he do? What did John Henry Clark and his ilk do? This is the coldest piece right here. And I know these are here's my receipts right here. He made you want to go back to Africa when Africans are fleeing over here in droves. Why are they fleeing their homes and coming over here? Because all I hear is Africa, they got more millionaires than Africa, black millionaires. Yeah, because it's that's their jail cell, Africa. Africa's not controlling the minerals over there. Africa's not controlling the resources over there. Africa's money is European money, French money, the pound. What's now, you know, the dollar is deflated. It's fiat currency. What they say African dollar's worth. You're gonna go over to Africa and you don't that this is your home. That's the shit that gets you hooked in. It's not. They know that. You're just coming over there, giving them your money, and pretty soon you're gonna see that they ain't feeling you like that. Because don't ever think that you're gonna go over there and buy out their land. I talk to them all the time. They don't play that shit. This is their land. You would think the Negro here would see and do that, but we somewhere else. She stands out like a sore thumb there. Her language is different, so they're going to take advantage of her off of that alone. Just like the sisters over here get pimped by her, we think, we getting us something. Yeah, hey, okay. They're here to replace you. Just like those Moors did back in the day, tried to mix in with you. They don't hang out with you. They don't come to your parties. They not your friend. They don't come to your Thanksgiving. They don't go down to Africaville, what's that, down in Mobile, Alabama. They don't go to the East Coast of the United States and take DNA against them people there to find they people. They don't do that. You would think by now we don't get it. We don't get it. I mean, simple stuff like that. This is what the Afrocentric movement was about. This is what Roots was about. You think this sister here knows her genealogy, knows who her great great grandmama is, knows who her great 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 grandfather is, know where her home was, know that the line that she came through, who was those people? She's off 4,000 miles away from home somewhere. Will says, I just don't understand what's really going on with our people. They don't know Africa doesn't belong to the Africans. Every single country there is owned by the EU. Simple stuff like that. Simple stuff. And so, so some of us are thinking, some of us are seeing this. It's playing out. You have all these, and remember this. One of the things that y'all know, Afrocentrics talk that shit, but they not going back. They not going back home. I mean, if you say Africa's all that, toodles, because you sure ain't trying to help us here. You got on Africa. You will buy stuff about. I know Negroes that got more stuff in China in their house than they got that they've made themselves. I know Negroes that got more stuff in Africa, art, than they ever buy from each other. Am I right or wrong? This is the African American today. This is the African American today. I know people that's all they do is wear African clothes. You think Africa wear your clothes? Well, you don't have no clothes because you're not into that. You're not into, hey, y'all, let's get all these basketball players, these 40, $50 million a year dudes, buy some land and let's start growing some hemp so we can start making some hemp and cotton clothes again. Hey, let's do that. You done went to college, you got all this. Come on, but the African American doesn't do that. And that's what I mean. The African American is a puppet. They're hanging up in a closet. When game time is out, y'all can come play now. Right? Right? Who? The who of all this, the mindset of the Black Americans, who was in control of the mindset? Those Afrocentrics that made you think that you was African. And why did they say Africa? Because they're close. If you look at an African woman and you look at a sister from America, two totally different species. Right or wrong? They feel different. They talk different. They smell different. Brother said we different creatures. As a member of our creatures, since we have a higher intellect, we should be helping the other creatures go back into the wild when we set them free and will be free. Whatever that means. Come on, seriously. Do sisters from America look like sisters from Africa? No, totally different. We hooked on that now. Why can't the men come over here? I know sisters, they should be in their 80s by now. Married African men in the 60s. African man be in that whole, what's that, 60 years? The African man was probably over here 10 years and was back at home with his wife and family. She was happy just to say that she was married to an African dude. Wasn't John Henry Clark associated with Malcolm X in his life? He wrote a book about Malcolm. I wonder, was he misleading Malcolm? So this is what I mean about when you look at somebody's life. When you look at Malcolm X's life, you have to look. We all just passing through here. We're all just passing through. Where was Malcolm coming from? Malcolm was pimping hoes, getting pimped. He was a dope fiend, but you got to see him turn, become a better person. I mean, he only died when he was 39. He had some more growing to do before they took him out of here. He was learning. We all do. We all don't get it on the same page, but he started learning. He started waking up, and when he started seeing what the hell was going on, hey, they took him out. Because why? He was telling what they was. They wasn't nothing. Because he learned. Remember, he used to give all kind of homage to Elijah Muhammad. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad tells us, God damn it, I don't think for myself. I do what he tells me to do. That's where he was. Some people are still there. As he started growing and learning, he had to change. That's why a lot of us don't learn shit, because we don't want to change. Amen. So John Henry Clark was associated with Malcolm X. He was Malcolm X. He would get information from Malcolm X, historical information. Some of Malcolm X's speeches, John Henry Clark had a hand in writing in them. I'm not saying John Henry Clark was no asshole. I'm just saying what he could, because I spent a lot of my stuff loving John Henry Clark until I started asking him questions that he couldn't answer, that he fumbled with, that he got mad with. Brother, you a teacher. I'm asking you a question. I just want a simple, I want you to give me the answer like I'm tying my shoes. How I was taught to tie my shoes, your answer should be easy. Any answer you get, it should be that easy. This stuff is not hard, y'all. It's right in your face. And we don't want to look at it. That's going to be a problem later on. That's going to be a problem later on. Yeah, so John Henry Clark, yeah, and that's part of Malcolm learning. He had to go and see other places. Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. Give each other information, talk to each other, what's that, steel sharpen steel? When you run into a sister, especially because a lot of the sisters are getting more intelligent. A lot of sisters are getting off the hook. And the lame attitude brothers had towards sisters, all these years following these other foreigners, how they treat their women, you try to treat your women the same way, it's about to come back and bite you in the ass. You better learn from these chicks, man. You better learn from these sisters. And they're your mothers anyway, so I don't know why you did it in the first place. So yeah, Wanda, John Henry Clark, he was helping and shaping. You know, when he was Malcolm X, remember Malcolm X was talking about, you're Aboriginal. You don't like to be called that. He was starting to see. But no African. What African you ever seen look like Malcolm? And remember, Malcolm's mother was from the Caribbean, but the Caribbean and South America and the Central America and Mexico, that's all America. That's all America. So I get it. I get it. So, and speaking of that, you always notice that a lot of people come up here teaching us shit are people coming from the Caribbean. Who are they sponsors when they get here? So you got to ask that question. Because see, you can't go down to another place and be there. You have to be under the care of somebody. Somebody has to sponsor you here. So like all the people coming up from the Caribbean, who are they sponsors? All these people coming over, opening up businesses in your hood, who are they sponsors? You don't ask that. We don't know. We don't need to know that. Yeah, that's how you get took. So you never know. This is the stuff that 5-year-old kids should be spewing out their mouth now with the condition we in. So this is what I mean. When I say who did this to your mind, this is exactly what I mean. And y'all know here, I'm not trying to call nobody out or nothing. I'm just trying to show you what we thinking. This is what Andrew Bennett says. Black, indigenous, aboriginal people. Who the hell he talking about? You see how that find your people. What did your people call themselves? It's just that simple. We won't do that. Black, African, Aboriginal, Hebrew, Greek. We got so many damn prefixes on us. We can't even be who we supposed to be. Really, y'all? Huh? You can't go find your great, great, great grandmama and find out where she was from and what the people were called, the mountains or the lakes or the rivers where she was from, to give you a setting, to give you a feeling to this planet, your place here on earth, you won't do that? First of all, you're not black. When you say you're black, you automatically erase yourself. I'll say that again because we don't get it. When you say yourself black, you automatically black yourself out. You ever seen a document that's been redacted? That's what you are doing to yourself, blacking yourself out of the whole existence. That's why when other people call you black, they say it with a disgust to it. It's not just black, it's black. Blackie. That's how they say it. How do they sound when they say it? I don't know. We never know. These are the people, these are the who's, these so-called people who were trained in these universities. They were trained to mess up your mind. Because by now, if they wasn't, see, I always use the sister, the head of the house test. Sister, if you let a brother move in with you, because y'all see, if you work as a team, you can make things better for yourself. But a brother moves into a sister's house and he there 3, 4, 5 months and ain't doing nothing. Her situation's not getting better, it's getting worse. What does the sister normally do? Just normal. Get your ass out my house. So all this years of all this so-called education, this Afrocentric, well, I mean, what's come out of it? Other than other people's pockets getting full. That's what they taught you. That's what they came out to the community to teach. That's what we do. What are your suggestions on the solutions for our people? Brother, I'm gonna answer your question, but when you ask that question to somebody else, do this first. Give your solution first, because when you ask for it, because you really don't want one, because your job is to come up with a solution like everybody on this planet. It's just not my. I'm gonna give you a couple, but you've heard them before. You just won't participate in them. The solution is for your people is stop giving people other than yourselves your money. Now we gotta pay our bills. First of all, stop making bills, stupid. I know you got your lights and all that, yeah, but shouldn't we now have our own way that we can transmit power? We don't want to talk about that. Shouldn't we have our own phone system set up? Since everybody hates you, wouldn't it make sense if you're the one who everybody's eating off of, you stand up and stop letting you know the solution. You know the solution. Do other people come spend their money with you? No, they're doing well. You're spending your money with everybody. You're not doing well. Is it you see something there? You getting it? And this is where we are, brother. You don't have, and so send your solutions. Because I want to, you should be able to go up to a average 6-year-old and say, what do you think the solution is for the people here, the indigenous people in America? And listen to their answers. I bet you $20 they give you a better answer than most adults. Amen? Amen? The solution, you know what the solution is. The solution is to stop being a victim to these people. What you got is create justice, but you can't create a justice because you're so unjust to each other. What did these people teach this sister right here? Why Black Americans are deciding to resettle in Africa. What did they teach? They taught you that Africa was your home. Some foreigners came over here and taught you that Africa was your home. Amen. Never been there, just told you, not saying where in Africa, just a whole continent is your home. That's like Africa over in Zimbabwe somewhere, and they telling him America is his home. They're probably teaching them that. That's probably why they over here. They come over here to get with the women. Why? Because they can impregnate her. The reality that you live in, you have the baby, but the babies belong to the man. That's what we believe. Once he has a baby with you, now he can come claim your land because you're gonna teach your kids that they African, they daddy African, you got an African warrior, and take you right off your land. That's what the African Americans taught, right or wrong. Right or wrong. They teach you to disconnect from your land. I know people in their 60s say they'll never go back to Mississippi in their life. And Mississippi is one of the coldest places on earth. See, that's their media telling you about a certain place, your place, telling you how horrible it is, run you out, and they just sit back and chill. I think that's what the Emmett Till story was about, to scare the people off the land. That's what I mean, because the things they do they do things for a reason. First of all, is to send us in emotional shock, because the first thing we do is lose our minds. We get mad, we get emotional, so they can do anything. They can do anything. They know they're going to piss you off. Once you're pissed off, you're confused. Your thinking is off balance, and they can slip whatever they is on you, no matter how dumb you look doing it. We just go crazy. People don't really care that cat got, that's a op. That's a psych op. That's a psych op. And how we don't see that? They always doing that. I bet they be having money on the table. What can we make these cats do? We just go out of our minds. No, nothing. We haven't said to ourselves, you know what? If the clay down south is like walking on velvet barefoot, how come we don't live in places like that no more? And what's funny about people who live in places like that, 100 years old ain't shit. You see? But we rather live in the cities, got these big rubber shoes, fake leather, made in China, walking on concrete, on rubber. Then you got these baseball caps and these weaves cutting you off from the other part of the energy, the positive side, the sun. And your feet are not touching the ground. You're not connected to the earth. Huh? And you wonder why you walk around here in the state that you in, you're not even connected. And thank you to shit. And totally out of line. You don't think in these wigs they be putting tracking devices and all kind of stuff in them? We don't care. We get like you and look stupid. They stank. The shoes and the hair, they probably made from the same material, right? This is where we are today. And remember, you have what's the thing now? Oh, black women are the most educated women in America. For real, cuz you didn't come up with a way to educate your kids in this pandemic. Really? They're on Zoom doing school now, and you couldn't come up with a way to pull your kids away from this brainwashing. And we supposed to be really? Hmm? See, I mean, because come on, you graduated 20 years ago. Come on, cuz. What it look like for your people? I'm talking about what it look like down the road. Amen. Huh? That's what's being done to us. We don't have babies no more. So what is that gonna do? You don't see it now because you really don't care because you're moving too fast. But when you get down the line, you will see it. The babies that are not being had today, that means there won't be nobody there tomorrow. You don't get that. You don't get when you're homosexual. Homo means one sex. You need two sexes to create life. I mean, it's just that simple. We think that we can do all this stuff. Really? And Negroes wouldn't have done it if white folks didn't say it was okay to do, right or wrong. Hmm? So you have so let's say the homosexual hit the community real hard in 1980. Those babies that would have been born from those relationships won't be there in 2000. The babies that they would have had won't be there in 2020. That's how they depopulate you. See, they can't. It's too many of you to go all out war on because they tell you the minority. That's not what it is. I always tell you that where do you go in the world and the indigenous people are the minority. You never get no answer because that's something that Negroes don't think about. We don't. What you mean by that? That's how you're weeded out. If you ever get a chance to watch a documentary, it's called My Alpha 21. It's some bullshit. But they got this brother and sister team and the kind of media, if you look at this brother and sister, they bad. How they presenting this story. And in the story of My Alpha 21, they tell you all the atrocities that happen to African Americans. One thing they said that hit us hard was that Roe versus Wade, abortion. And the same thing goes for the abortion. This goes for the homosexual. When kids that were aborted in 1970, they won't have no kids in 1990. They won't. That's a generation gone. The same going down that same line. Those kids wouldn't have made kids in 2010. We don't figure it out. We don't see. I know people 70, 80 years old don't have a clue of what's going on. Don't have a clue. And this is what's happening to us to every day. And we do it. We do it with an attitude. When are these people doing these things? 24/7. Talk to people from New York all the time. They say Malcolm X ideas still stand. If you south of the Canadian border, you south. Will says, I don't understand how the pale faces got our people beat so bad. To this day, we still believe in these people's system. And whatever comes out of their mouth, we are the majority in this country. But I mean, we might be on the way out because we're not really into kids now. Negroes will sell their children quicker than a white person will. We have total disrespect. The men totally disrespect the women. The women totally disrespect the men. I mean, I be hearing brothers talk about sisters. I'm like, damn, dude, don't you got a mama? Sister, don't you have a father or a brother or somebody? It's every male in your life was a piece of shit. Then that says something about you. This is where we at. This is what we do. I mean, in public. You think sisters would have did what they did for Kamala Harris to another sister? No. Here you have sisters who are pretending to be Greek. They not on the people here. They're not thinking about the people here. They're not thinking about their great grandmamas here. They're not thinking about where their people lived here. Their mind's in Greece somewhere. Leaving all this land, all of these resources for foreigners to just come take from you. Amen. You think sisters would have did that to another sister, pushed her into the vice president role, and they sat on the sideline and said nothing like they doing for Kamala Harris? That's how you are. You put her first and she put you last. That's how the Negro does it. He doesn't do it any other way. He only does it that way. Right or wrong? Think about you going to India trying to get to be the vice president of their country. All the women that are in college push you through so you can be the vice president. Would that happen in India? I'll wait. We do it here, and we're supposed to think that you, huh? After she done dogged, after she done dogged, after she done dogged the so-called African American community in California. And I lived in California while she was there. And they had Negroes back there trying to carry them on their shoulders back then. And some people still follow her. That's what I mean, being stuck. Being stuck. Wanda say that's not going to happen. But you see how we stuck in these mindsets of what we believe, don't know nothing. All we know about that chick is what the TV tells us. Not all of us. Most people, they don't read. They don't think. They just take what's shoved down their throat. That's how the African American works. These people are plotting against you 24/7. Talk to the people, ask them, they'll tell you. They're told to keep their heads down and shut up. What about the black people? Keep your head down and shut up. Those are the people who sponsor Kamala Harris over here. Because when you come over here, you have to have a sponsor to keep an eye out on you and to spy on the community and stuff. You see that all over. You got places where Negroes are represented, where a foreigner come in there, the Negroes will vote for them. These are whole towns, counties. The Negro will vote for a Chinese before they vote their own self in, right or wrong. Yeah, that's happening. That's happening in America today. And then this what she do. She just hired 12 Indian women to her board. see how you're used? I call it using it. They use you like toilet paper. They take your face and wipe their ass with it. That's how the Negro, the African American, is treated by foreigners in their own home. Martin Luther King told you, you in exile in your own land. He told you that damn near 60 years ago. Huh? Did he tell you? Frederick Douglass told you 100 years before that. Which brings me to study the history in 50-year increments. You will learn a lot more then. Don't try to go back to Egyptian times, whenever it is, whatever they tell you it is. Because you know those Sphinx and all that shit over there is bullshit. Over there in Africa, they build stuff. It's like a Disneyland, like them slaves castles in Africa. They're like, it's like a Disneyland. It's like a tourist attraction. When you go there, you have to ask yourself, well, how did the boats shove off from you? You'll see. They just tell you bits of the story because you don't think for yourself. The majority of African Americans don't think for themselves. The majority of African Americans, and a lot of people like to say, well, you can't be like that. It got to be close to 50%. Okay, so I'll give you 50.1% of the so-called people of African American who call themselves African American don't think at all. It's more like 96, 97%. But he thinks that's too much. And when I explain why it's not, he still want to argue, you know. And when you get people like that, there are people who are not trying to make a difference. See, I don't bullshit and lie and try to fuck people over because I wouldn't want nobody doing that to me or somebody I love. And that is going on. That means that we not loving on each other. And most of that hate is coming through the TV, the music, any other media. Because the only media we should be in is the media of our minds. What's happening? We're not trying to be better every day. We're not trying to learn every day. We're not trying to grow. No, that's every single last, I don't care if you're 10 years old. That's when most of us got some sense when we were young. Why is all this stuff happening? Like I said at the opening, why is the African American smack dab in the middle of all the media you see? Don't take it emotional. Look at it because you're not the only one who sees this stuff. You have social media groups where you have COINTELPRO, which is still in effect. And you can tell what they're doing. They're just poking the African American to get a rise out of them. And we come confused, looking stupid, giving them ammunition to use against you because you won't even think. You got African Americans siding up with Native Americans, saying the Indians over here aren't the Indians. You have African Americans telling Native Americans and anybody else who will listen that I'm not the Indian when they know you are. So what happened? Those guys normally marry the foreign women and they come and get the land. That's how they do it. You see all these guys, these rich guys, these brothers, when they get to the downslide of making their money, the woman leaves them and takes half. That's where we at. That's how she takes control of your land. And you think all these clowns, they know what they're doing? And you worship them. Amen. You worship them. So check out the look. Check out the look on this sister's face. Check out the look, because this is how most African Americans look, puzzled. And what Neely Fuller say, if you don't understand white supremacy, everything will confuse you. When you sneeze, you'll be confused. If you don't understand what's happening to yourself, how stuff works, how you're used as a pawn. Remember, Public Enemy, no matter what the name, we're all the same pieces in one big chess game. If you're not understanding that, if you don't know where your place is on the chess table, you're confused. And then when you're confused and you're going around talking to other people, you're confusing them. That's how it keeps going. I've had Afrocentrics tell me men can breastfeed. That's what these shines are teaching. This what? When have you ever seen that? They've never seen it. They just know it can happen because they read it and run John Henry Clark's books. Not John Henry Clark's book, but one of those books that those people write. This is what we're giving to our children. Won't find out where your great-great-grandmother lived or where she was from. Did she live by a national park? Did she live by a river? Did she live in the mountains? Did she live by a coal mine? What did she make? What did the men do? You won't even, it take you got 3 generations. We won't even do that. We won't even do that. It'll take you about a week. Because when you follow nature, you will understand what your job is. You look at the moon phases, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? How does that connect to you? Don't the mother go through phases when she's having a baby? Is that somehow connected to the moon? I don't know. Why don't you know? Nobody told me. You're not supposed to be, you're supposed to figure this out yourself. You're supposed to be asking questions as soon as you can talk. Because that's what babies saying when they talking and you can't understand them. What's up? And you're not teaching them that. You put them in front of the TV. Put them in a car with the radio blasting, pumping that stuff, whatever it's called, off the radio. This is normal practice. This is how the African American lives their lives. This is how the African American gets it. Won't correct himself. Won't say, "Hey man, I was wrong. Let me go the other way." Isn't that what our mothers taught us? Do right. Stay on the right path. Stay on the right path. You're gonna try to, it's gonna be situations and people that come knock you off that path. Do the right thing. Didn't you have a movie called Do the Right Thing? That's not in our heads. Don't we hear one of our friends who made it? Aren't we happy? Aren't we happy when one of our children gets an education? Aren't we just happy? Why do they do what they do to us? I got in it with a guy today, because people are always trying to tell you about you. They never tell you about them, but they always want to know about you. And he was telling me that America was named after somebody named Vespucci or something. And I was saying, no, man, that's not where America got its name from. And he was, oh, nigga, you don't know what you talking about, blah, 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 blah. I mean, okay, but America didn't get their name from that. He goes, well, where'd they get their name from? Where the name America come from? There's a mountain range going through Central America that's called the Americas. It may be in French, Spanish, or something, but it translates into America. I know they told you that some dude stumbled over here and put his flag in the ground and say, I'm naming this place after myself. And I know you believe that. You can keep on believing it, but that's not you. You have to study. You have to study the land. People would tell you, and what we do, we don't listen to each other. We only listen to the dummies. We only listen to the shit that don't work. That's all we do. Somebody tell you something that makes sense, you don't want to do it. This is another. You always notice that the Negro is always in the ancient world. Why? They can't tell you about their grandmama, but they can tell you about some dude that lived 10,000 years ago. You see where we at? You see? You see? When you hear people that talk of that language, you know you're being led down the wrong road. Stay to your roots so you can continue to grow. I mean, this is simple. You've shown every day it's enough people growing food and their kids are seeing, damn, that grows out of the ground. It takes roots and grow to the ground. You don't think you do the same thing? Nope, we always in Africa, on the moon, play, whatever. And this is what we pass down to our children. This is what you pass down to your children. Keep it up, because you damn sure gonna pay. Keep not hanging with your grandkids. Keep not trying to share with your little nieces and nephews, cousins and stuff, because all they get is bullshit and sugar. And they both had the same effect. This is one of my favorite sayings. Pav says, if you're always in the past, you can't be focused on the now. Amen. We always 5,000 years back on the other side of the world when you should be right here. And when you're 5,000 years on the other side of the world, other people come and take your spot here. Amen. Why do they do that? Why do they, why do other people set you up like this? Because anybody that's been to the Middle East, anybody that's been to Africa, anybody that's been to Europe, and I've never been to Asia, those places have been decimated forever. They come over here because it's life. When you really study the term American, when you really know what it means, not by what somebody say, what you find, you have to be the explorer. You have to be the thinker. When you get in a debate with somebody, when you say something, they don't say nothing else. Because you have no time for debates. Your words have to be like cut like a razor. It can't be all this dumb talk that we're into. It can't be what did Gladys Knight tell you? Believe half of what you see, none of what you hear. Heard it through the grapevine. Believe half of what you see, none of what you hear. That's why you have to explore. The reason why the so-called African Americans in this world win, I don't care what happens. If a tree fell, two Negroes pushed it down. You're always, because you attract people, you have to understand what everybody here is taking your energy for. And they're taking the source of your energy, which is the land. We're killing each other out and dogging each other out so much that we're losing our whole connection to our home. Why are they doing that? Because in Africa, you're not going to find what you find here in America. You're not going to find the national parks. You're going to find what they have over there is not what we have here. And that's another reason we always lose. We always say something is better. It's not nothing, it just is. Because you wear a pair of $300 tennis shoes and I wear a pair of $30 tennis shoes. What? What? You just making it so your feet won't touch the hot concrete, or you won't cut your feet on the concrete or the asphalt. That's what all the shoes are for, basically. Africa got stuff that we ain't got. What? Well, I mean, well, it's better. But bye. All people, all African Americans, I think you should move to Africa now because they need you. They need their children at home. Don't stay over here talking that dumb shit to us. Go home and help your people. I hear China moving in right now. To the people who know this is your land, and this is the how. I'm sorry, here's the why. All these national parks around here, if you go through America, this is a cold place. This is a cold place. I mean, just the national parks alone, that's your refuge just in case anything go into America. It goes down in America. That's the indigenous people's refuge, is the national parks. Keep that in mind, because they're trying to really push you off the land permanently. I know many of you have seen the Georgia Guidestones, where they're talking about depopulation. The people right now are so out of it mentally, many are killing themselves. They can't make it seem like they're doing anything. They got to make sure that you're doing it. All this stuff is fueled. Why they're doing it is because they want your land. And you're giving it to them because this ain't mine. I'm going to Africa. And you're just leaving all your stuff here. The stuff that your people bestowed upon you, you're giving it to other people. You think history is going to be kind to you? You think history is going to be kind to you? They're going to be, well, what happened to the people of America? Shit, they wanted China. They wanted Africa. They didn't want what they had. They didn't want what they created. They didn't want it. They didn't want it. I don't want it. I'm moving to Africa and ain't gonna have nothing there. Because anybody who's ever lived outside this country, anybody who stayed in another country for a significant period of time, know damn well you a foreigner. Now they might laugh in your face and, hey girlfriend, what's up, brother? But they know and you know that ain't your home. And I really don't think that's the position you want to be in the next 10 years. I really don't think that's the position you want to be moving into. So listen, one of the things I want to show you is serious. And like I say, this is not trying to embarrass nobody, but this is what I want you to see what is done to our minds. Can I get 50,000 brothers putting their foot down so I can get 50,000 women putting their foot down? Can we get some solutions going down around here? Let's change the world from the inside out. His very next post is this. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I mean, it don't matter if you're on a flat earth, if the earth is shaped like a Coke bottle, if the earth is shaped like a boomerang, if the earth is shaped like a shoe, whatever. How is that helping? So this is what I mean about, your thoughts changes the frequency of what people are thinking, doing, feeling. Your thoughts. So when a guy is writing a song, let's take Stevie Wonder, since everybody's familiar with Stevie Wonder. When Stevie Wonder writes a song, the notes that he's weaving through that song is to invoke something in you. I mean, he's thinking about this before he even writes the song. The note. No, Miss Girl, we don't have time for this. But this is what I'm saying. These cats are out here running their mouth. This is where we at. No, don't try to learn anything. We don't try to learn. We just pick up everything that we hear and regurgitate it. and it doesn't have nothing to do with what's being said. The African American is knee deep into that. Now, how, and I'm about to close, but this is how, because people are always asking for solutions. Everybody has solutions. Everybody has solutions. You better stop asking for them. Stop asking questions and start answering them. How are you going to keep your land? Getting back to it. See, when you look at the money in the 1960s, you own the money. What were you doing? You were the stewards of this land. You took care of this land. It wasn't trash over America when these people came. You didn't play that. The rivers weren't polluted like they're polluted now. Your beaches wasn't cigarette butts and all kind of rubber tires. You didn't have that. Get your land. If you simply took yourself out of everybody's situation, they would all fall. You're the money in America. Asians make their money off of who? You. Arabs make their money off of who? You. When you walk into the grocery store, all those items you see on the shelves, how many of those items are made by African American people? In the whole store. How is that possible? How is it that you invented everything and now everything is taken from you and you've been in, and you don't even know what's happening? When you don't understand white supremacy, everything will confuse you. So that's the simple way. How? Get your land back. Start sharing with each other. No, I'm not saying be stupid and share with people who are not into sharing. Let them go. Because you got many of us up here thinking that we can be doing what we doing and we gonna prosper from that, and we're not. So those type people, leave them alone. But you get some hands. You got family members, because these cities are kicking Negroes out. And I don't know how you don't see it. If you don't see it, you don't want to see it. You have all these towns, all this land that your people left to you, and you scared to go be on it. Mississippi is an excellent example. I know some indigenous families that live in Mississippi. They got it so cold. The name of their streets on their land, I don't know, they got about 400 acres, something like that. And they own little city. The names of the streets are named after the people in the family. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Cecil C., I'm glad you're here. But dude, we don't have time. We don't have time, brother. Yeah, Missy girl, action is power. It is. And so every time you open something, you can't open up a store and have indigenous products on the store, on the shelves. Why? Because nobody will support you. See, we don't like that. The actions we do, what we do, we're doing it, well, I'm doing it for the mentals. You have to think for your benefit. It's like the young ladies always ask me, well, why do Asians have all this money and have all these BMW SUVs and blah, 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 and I got to take the bus to school? I'm like, because you give your money to them for hair. You don't sell them hair. You don't sell them shoes. You don't sell them clothes. You get theirs. That's where your money goes. That's why you are a consumer. That's all every immigrant is told. And every immigrant comes over here to, when they want to make money, the fastest way to make money is to what? Set up a business where you live. Some will live in, I know Chinese food places where the family lives in the restaurant and it's full every day. Roaches, rats, whatever in the food. They don't care. Right? I mean, seriously, this is what the African American does every day. Doesn't support his own restaurants. Do African Americans support foreign restaurants or their own restaurants? Somebody tell the truth. That's where we are. So where do you think those people gonna go? So in closing, that's how we're gonna get our land back. You gotta claim it. You gotta buy it back because you sold it. Remember, you came off the land, all this wilderness, and you cramped yourself into these cities. One of the things that messed you up when you got in these cities, you came off the land where you had women having 13, 14, 15 kids. The point of having all the kids is she needed hands to work the land. You can't go out there now and buy 40 acres and don't share with nobody because nothing will get done. You need hands. The African American doesn't think like that. The African American, this is mine, and I'm just gonna stay here. You got nothing. That's how we look at it. Right or wrong. That's why so then you left the land and then you moved into yards, squared off fences. And you were still in the having a lot of kids because that's what you do. But they couldn't, the yard that they was in, it wasn't enough room. The little houses that this is before people started exploding to the cities. This is when you were in the cities, like down in the South. You lived on the vast parts of land, then you moved into these cities to get jobs. Leaving your home where you were and not developing that. Other people came in behind you and scooped up the land. That's what's been going on in America. That's how you've been losing it. America is vast. America is vast. But you want to live in these little boxes like these, they're called cities now. You got to look at it from a different, they're not cities, they're little boxes where you hoard a whole bunch of people in. That's what these cities are. And you know how all of them. I just talked to a sister from New York and she gave me the lowdown on New York. Up there in a whole bunch of places, they all say the Negro is done. No, you can't beat them at their own game. So you leave and start playing your own game. That would ruin their game. We don't see it like that. So find your people, find out where they lived, Find out the natural resources around that, because that'll start telling you something about yourself. You got to be smart about it. You got to remember all the dynamics that went in to trick you. There's an old saying that the women in my family used to say, and I've heard many people say it: mama's baby, daddy's maybe. The men don't know how to be fathers because nobody was fathers to them. And this goes back to people who set up this aren't even on the planet no more. It was a program that they set out to destroy us on. We're supposed to be figuring it out and stopping it. See, when you got married before these people came, you didn't have no white, long, flowing dress letting some person marry you, letting some minister marry you. That's that's the way they do it. You had a whole different way, and you should know it. Most don't. Most don't care, but you turning your lives over to them when you do that. So if all people come from a woman, and the woman gives the man, the baby, the father's last name, she is making sure that that baby remains a slave. Why? Because that man is a slave. Why? Because any man knows that whatever something comes from is that. Example: if you driving by the mountains in Tennessee and a piece of rock fall off from that mountain, that rock is part of that mountain. Every person comes from their mama. Where did they mama live? What did they daddy do? Because the man married into the woman's family. Why? To help produce from the land. Your land, but you don't call it yours no more because you want Africa stuff. So I just want to share this with you. You know, find your people. Find your people. It's not hard. All you got to do is look. Uh, tomorrow's, or is it today? I don't know. Tomorrow is one of these holidays. We're gonna have a brother on here tomorrow. You gotta check this cat out. You have a lot of intelligent people out there that's been through a lot of stuff that you haven't been through, I haven't been through. All of us have been through that. We're supposed to be sharing this information so a lot of this stuff can make sense to a lot of us. So I'm gonna have a brother on here tomorrow talking about that. Make sure you look at that. Make sure you watch that, because this brother, he's baffled. He's like, I can't believe that we don't see this stuff. And he's gonna let us know why. But that Afrocentric stuff, all these people moving back to Africa, their mindset is totally twisted. And we're past the point of trying to tell them that's what they want to do. Peace be unto them. So I want to thank you guys for hanging with me tonight. I didn't mean to go this long, but I hope you got something from this. Hey, we'll check you out tomorrow. Peace.